The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the 13th chapter of the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus said to his disciples, "Be watchful, be alert. You do not know when the time will come. It is like a man traveling abroad. He leaves home and places his servants in charge, each with his own work, and orders the gatekeeper to be on the watch. Watch, therefore. You do not know when the Lord of the house is coming, whether in the evening or at midnight, or at cockcrow or in the morning. May he not come suddenly and find you sleeping. What I say to you, I say to all, watch." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Yesterday, rather unceremoniously, we said goodbye. Goodbye to the church year. And today we start a new church year. It's kind of nice to celebrate the new year without all the trappings of January 1 to distract us. We sit here saying, "Oh, today's New Year's Day." I said, "Yes, it is," liturgically. We need to say goodbye to everything of the last year so we can celebrate what God has planned for us in this new year. And so it starts with a little time of waiting, and we hear the words, watch, be alert, don't be caught by surprise. And then we can all remember the time when we were children in a classroom when the teacher had to leave the room for a moment. And what did she say? Behave. Behave until I return. And of course she left the room and everyone behaved for 2 minutes. And then it was always Harvey or someone who started an activity. All hell broke loose. And we thought that was bad until the teacher returned. Then we had hell to pay. That's the kind of alert that we want to have in our youthful minds. Be prepared, because you do not know the day or the hour when the teacher will return. So we want to think a little bit about not only behaving, but making sure that when the Master returns, that we're going to be praised. You did all the right things, my dear students. You did adoration, you did reconciliation. We can dream, can't we? But Advent is a time for that. To adore. Adore comes from the Latin ad oro, which means mouth to mouth. When we adore the Lord, we are mouth to mouth with the Lord. Adoration. The Lord is kissing us. We are kissing the Lord. Adoration. And then we are also to be involved during Advent with some reconciliation. Once again, it comes from a marvelous Latin word, concilia. Cilia refers to the eyelash, refers to the eyeball. We are to be eyeball to eyeball with God. Getting our hearts in order so that we can look God in the eye and God can look back at us. Adoration, mouth to mouth, reconciliation, eyeball to eyeball. But the problem is we have a very noisy world out there, and it's hard to find good quality time for adoration and for reconciliation. The late senator from Illinois, Paul Simon, he was also a presidential candidate at one time, gave a graduation talk. And he recalled for the graduates a time when he and his brother were out for a drive one summer evening. It was a beautiful, cool evening. And as they were driving down the road, they decided to turn off the air conditioner. As they were visiting, they decided to turn off the radio and just to roll down the window and enjoy the sounds of the evening. And they were able to concentrate a bit more on what the other was saying. And as they came around a curve, both of them thought they heard something. A voice crying, "Help!" And so they turned the car around and came back to the roadside where they heard the yell of help, and they looked over the edge into a ditch, and there was a car overturned. And there was a man pinned in the car. Once they realized that, the brother drove off to get an ambulance and some help. And Paul Simon went down to the car and was visiting with the person who was still very alert. "How long have you been here?" He said, "Since this morning when I went to work. And I've been yelling all day long. Cars passing by, hundreds of them. But you're the only ones that heard me. The rest of the cars had their windows up, had their radios going full blast, were preoccupied, and because they didn't celebrate the silence and the day, they didn't hear the constant cries for help." Senator Simon made this connection with the graduates. We were the only ones who stopped because we were the only ones listening to the sounds. That's what we want to do with Advent. Listen to the sounds of the call to adoration and to reconciliation. We're all surrounded by so much artificial and man-made noise. Perhaps this year we can appreciate Advent. Be alert, be watchful, because right now in our midst, and we don't have to pray for it, is the advent of our God. Jesus Christ is present to us every day, every minute, and every event of our lives. God is trying to do something with our lives, but we aren't listening, at least not always well enough. What makes Advent so joyful? It forces us to tune in to the sounds of silence, to tune in to a fresh hope, a fresh peace, a fresh love, and ultimately a fresh joy that comes at Christmas. For Advent signals that something very special is going to happen.